Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Inspired by Miss Amber Red. I am here today with Tyler from SMP Ink. Woo woo! He is a local artist here in town in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is full of super, super fucking talented artists. Actually, that's like one of the things that I tell people all the time. They're like, how's your competition? I'm like, actually, we have a bunch of talented artists here in town. So proud that we are holding our own in a city of such talented people. But I'm first going to let him introduce himself and just, tell him a little bit about you. And who's Tyler?
Oh, man. Okay. So, I never thought I would be in any kind of PMU space in my life. I used to work for I used to work for basically the city. I was a counselor.
Oh, okay.
So I went to school for that. But I've just made my way in the industry. I've gotten incredibly lucky. I've worked hard, and I'm just very thankful to be kind of in people's view of SMP and micropigmentation and doing that kind of thing. So
how did you go from that to that?
I know, it's crazy. So long story short, I was helping teens with traumatic experiences, and it just got really heavy. I'm just I'm an empath, so I was just taking on everyone's stuff, and it just really wasn't what I wanted. But at the same time, I was struggling with hair loss. So I started losing my hair when I was 18. I was still in high school. I remember the day it was an issue because I was friends with this girl, and she knew somebody that I liked, and I said, hey, go put in a word for me. Yeah. And she came back and she's like, nah, you don't want her. I'm like, why? What the hell? What? And she's like, she said you're balding.
What?
I was shot to the heart.
Oh no. And this was in high school?
This is in high school.
What the hell?
That is so young to be thinking grown man thoughts like that. That's like movies and everything they just depict a villain or the guy who's not, good looking with no hair. And then everyone else who is the hero, they're always like Thor, or they're always like somebody who has like all this hair. So it's ingrained in our mind that if you're old and you're unattractive, you're losing your hair. So when you're young and you're supposed to be in your prime and you're losing your hair, that's a shot to the heart. So I went through all this different stuff. I got a hair transplant. I did everything on the market, and then finally I got a hair transplant.
How old were you at that point?
21.
21 and got a hair transplant. Holy shit.
15 grand.
Did you do it here in the States?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I didn't go to Turkey. Turkey is that's where everyone's going now, but this is kind of an old school thing.
Right.
So when I was 21, I got this very invasive surgery, and it was rough. I had the healing process. Everything they tell you about it is nothing like what it really is like. So I did that. I continued to lose hair. I took all these drugs like Propecia and finasteride to help me with my hair, but what it really did is it stunted my natural testosterone at a young developmental age. So I was going through it. Now I'm missing my hair. I have low T. And then I was in a job that was weighing on me mentally heavily. Yeah. And so I found Marvin, who is now my business partner. He did my micropigmentation. I could shave my head, I could forget about it, and I could move on from it. And it just liberated me.
And then how old were you at that point? Was it a couple years that it took you to?
27, maybe. 27.
So you dealt with this, it was 10 years of dealing with the trauma of...
Yeah, thinking about stuff that you shouldn't be thinking about until you're older.
Yeah, that's so tough. Oh my gosh.
It sucked. So then I got my head done by him, and I was like, you know what? Damn, I feel good. And you know what? I'm looking for a career change. I want to learn this. I'm still going to be in the field to help people feel better about themselves. I can tell my story. I can relate to people who need it done. Dang, I can kill two birds with one stone. I can feel good about myself. I could leave the job I was working, and I could start working for myself. I really wanted my own time.
Yeah,
Because when you work for the city or
9 to 5 or the 8 to, whatever.
Yeah, you got to put in for all your vacation, and that sucks.
And I feel like it maxes out. I feel like that's like what was the big thing with me. It's like I feel like when I had like a real job, I feel like I have 15 jobs now at this point, but it's like when you have a real job, it's like there's a cap on it. Like, and I mean, we'll get into that later, but it's like I feel like you can only make, and it's not about money, but also like you're underneath somebody else. What do they want you to do? It's like, so you don't have any input and say like as to like what your day to day looks like. It's on there and it's on their time, and it's you're working this many hours. And like you said, the vacation thing, I'd be cocktailing, and then it would be a dead ass time of the season, and they'd be like, nope, sorry, just decided not to give it to you off. I'm like, well, just decided I'm not coming in. Like, it just sucks. That's
Plane's
shitty,
already booked.
Yeah, it's like that's a shitty situation to be in. So that's a really good point.
I feel trapped when I'm behind a desk, or when I have to beg someone to give me a very important vacation off, in hopes that I get it and they can find someone else, and you're working to better somebody else. You're not really working to better yourself.
Right.
So, I mean, not everybody could be their own boss. The world would be kind of weird. But, I mean, for some people like to work. They like having that steady paycheck that they can always count on. And some people are more along for the ride. Yeah. And they can do their own thing.
I feel it's like a very much so. Some people want to show up and leave and be done at the end of the day. I've seen it so many times over the last 10 years. And it's like some people, like, you probably some people, we like answer messages at 1 a.m. It's fine. So
isn't that crazy?
I try not to do that anymore, but I'm getting better at it.
Stay away from my phone. I'm like, and I convince myself to answer it too. Like, well, okay, they're up. I know for sure. They just messaged. Yeah. Let me just message real quick. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I feel kind of weird sending it so late.
Last night I sent one at like 9 o'clock, and I was like, do I send this right now? I was like, well, still in my head, I'm like, I'm still kind of early. I just got home. It's fine. Send. Like, but yeah, probably not the healthiest of habits. I'm like, I'm trying to do like an 8 p.m. and after. The girls even, this is actually hilarious because they actually put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I can't figure out how to take it off. I'm at that age. Sasha's over there laughing, but I can't figure out how to take it off of my phone. So now I'm missing all these messages, and it's like stressing me out because I'm like, oh my god, so and so messaged, I missed it. But it's because it's for a reason. Because like obviously I have no boundaries. But
I love it. It's good for your sanity. They're looking out for you.
Yeah, I'm like in those trips you mentioned. I'm like the trips. I'm like every trip is important. Sometimes I just need a mental health break. That is an important trip. I don't care if the company thought it was important or not. I needed that trip in that moment.
100%.
Okay, so you got your. I always say your head tattooed. I'm like, I think it sounds cool. Victor's like, that is not what it is.
It sounds so much cooler. When you say like you're getting a hair tattoo. The only issue with that is most people associate tattoos with like thick, bold, unnatural lines. They're thinking like fake hair strokes, and they're thinking, oh my god. Because I'll go through consultations all day with like a husband, and I'll show them pictures, I'll answer all their questions, and then I'll really, put this in their mind as something that is natural, and we're replicating natural hair follicles, and then they'll go home to their wife. And they'll be like, oh, I've, decided to get a head tattoo for hair. And they're like, the hell you are. Oh, my God. So then that happens all the time. I need to have some kind of like wife clause in there, like booking.
You send this home to you, and this is what you're going to show your wife.
Did you show the packet to your wife with the pictures?
Yeah, literally.
That's actually pretty smart.
That's actually a really good idea.
We should make one of those.
That's a really good idea. I feel like sometimes I get my greatest ideas just talking out loud, just randomly. Oh my God, write that down. Like, that's a really good idea.
Spouse package.
She just actually created us. This is kind of off topic, but she just created us. I don't know why we never had this before, but lately people leave and then they come back and they're like, you never told me that. It's like, what? Like, but there's a recording, like, because the whole studio is covered in cameras. But I'm just like, so now we have a consultation form where the artist takes notes, and then they have to acknowledge at the bottom of the form that, hey, this is what was talked about. And I always tell them, it's not like a binding contract. This is just to make sure that you and the artist are on the same exact page. If you decide to change it, no problem at all. But this is what we talked about. Hey, the hair strokes, you got previous work. It might not work, and you know that because then they come back, and their friends said, gangster. Oh, well, I wanted hair strokes because that's what Susie had. And it's like, okay, but we discussed, remember right here. And they're like, no, you talked me out of it. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, it's in your paperwork.
I like that. That's actually pretty gangster.
We did that yesterday.
Okay.
Started that form yesterday.
Because if you can always kind of sense when you're about to do a consultation if that person's about to be problematic.
Yeah.
And you can kind of be like, oh, let me just, code problematic. Come on in.
I have a gold star. You get a gold star if Amber really likes you at the top of your paperwork.
Just gonna put that on your paperwork. Boop.
I will not say where this came from. This is again off topic, but I was working somewhere at a studio once, and I was taking somebody else's client, and at the top of the paperwork, this is why I use a gold star, and I was like traumatized. I had to go to the restroom, and I left the paper. It was closed. It was a packet, but it was closed. But the woman had gotten up and opened up the folder, because we had paper forms at the time. This was like 10 years ago. So she opened up the form, and at the top it said, "She's a nut," in bold letters.
Oh no!
So I came in and I'm like, I'm pretty quick. I'm like, okay, make some shit up. It's not a good trait, but I'm pretty quick. I can kind of get myself out of situations. And I literally was like, oh, she meant she used hazelnut on you. And immediately the client was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yes,
and I was like,
hazelnut. Yes.
I'm like, hazelnut is a color. I'm like, but that is not what that meant. I'm like, why would you write that in big bold? I mean, obviously you didn't want me to miss it, so I get why you put it on there. And then it turned into like, oh, let's write our notes on sticky notes and put them in but I'm like, that shit they'll still go digging. I'm like, you'll be real careful with what you're writing down and what you're like, there's like a code, so I just use a gold star if I like you.
Funny.
So be careful with your forms. That's just I
have a consultation horror story.
No.
This one's pretty good.
We actually wanted to ask you, that was one of our topics. We were like, do you deal with crazies too? We deal with crazies too though?
Oh, I think I became the crazy in this one. So hold on. I had a very serious consultation. It was a wife who called, and this happens often. It's really weird. The husband doesn't even know they're coming in for the consultation.
Oh, yeah.
The wife will call and be like, my husband's interested in this. Can we come at this time? I'm like, cool. So we get there, and the guy's like,
what am I doing? Yeah.
Are we getting a tattoo? And she's like, no, just listen to the guy. So I give my speech and everything. And he wanted something kind of specific with his hairline, and I had just I'm trying to word this so like.
Just say it.
Okay, so I had just finished a client that I didn't put. So in our consultation room, we have a big TV, and we mirror an iPad to the TV with a bunch of pictures, so we can give them visuals of what we're talking about instead of just like showing them a phone or something. But I hadn't put it over yet, and the memory was getting crazy in it, and I didn't want to mess with it, so I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna mirror this picture from my phone real quick.
Uh-oh.
God dang it. So I was talking to my girlfriend not too much, before that, and I had some pages open, right? So I was talking, thank God, it's still bad. My one of the other artists was talking to the husband, and I was talking eye to eye with the wife.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, "Check this out." And I was like, so I put up some god awful image onto the TV, and I thought about just breaking my phone in half. Like that's how I wanted.
You're like, get it off.
That's how I felt. So I'm like scrambled, and I'm like shutting everything down, right? And then the wife looks up at the TV. Looks back at me, and we just have this staring like, oh my God. And then the husband didn't see anything, but I knew that the second they left there, this was going to be a serious story in the car. So from then on out, we have this very important rule: never, ever mirror your phone, no matter what. No matter what, whether you're going to book the client or not, no mirroring of your phone, iPad only.
God.
But yeah, that happened. He booked.
He
still booked.
Oh, okay.
We never talked about it. I wanted to so bad. I wanted to, while I was doing the work, to be like,
about that time.
So you already paid, and you're here, and you're halfway done, and you can't leave.
I already got you.
Did you ever hear about what happened?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, so that is hilarious. Oh my gosh. So you guys, how we met. So I remember Victor coming to me and he was like, I want to do SMP. For like 2 years he had been saying this, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm like, you have a real job. Take your ass back to work. We got insurance.
we got a family to feed.
Yeah, he's got a family to feed. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Victor. He's like, she would say some shit like that. No, but so he kept saying this again and again, and it was probably happening and I don't even know what made him. Honestly, I don't know where it came from. So he must have he's very much a research guy. So in some way, or I actually have never asked him that.
He's got great hair, too.
He has great hair, so I don't know where it connected. It was I think people think, oh, the wife thing, she pushed him into it. She did. No, I did not.
That's kind of what I thought, because he never told me.
It was
I was just like,
opposite.
okay, all right.
No, complete opposite. I think he had said that there was a couple guys at work. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. There's a couple guys at work that were having like hair loss issues, and he had heard them like through the grapevine. And he was like, maybe there's a solution. He ended up going down a rabbit hole, or something happened, and started doing research. And then he was like, well, cool, I could just do it out of her studio. Or whatever. But then he found you guys, and then he was like, I could just rent a space there. And I'm like side-eyeing him. I'm like, no, you aren't coming over here, sir, if we're putting in this money.
I have a space and a business.
But he liked your guys' setup. He liked your guys' vibe. It's like dudes and stuff. So I'm like, I totally get it. Like, I'm like, you come into I don't know if our space is that girly, really. Like, Sasha, is our space super girly? No, I feel like it's not super. It's like more like artsy. That you guys are all like shaking. I don't know. It's kind of girly, but
ours is kind of girly. It's definitely like when you think it's not a tattoo shop or anything. We try to put. Marvin has all that style. I don't have any style.
Your guys is very clean and it's very structured, yes, and like you walk in, it's like okay, you mean business.
It feels medical.
Yeah, it feels medical. Yeah. I went the complete opposite. And I have an art background, so. But anyways, long story short, he was like, "I want to do this." I was like, "Absolutely not." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, how long it's going to take you to build your clientele? Like, how long? I busted my ass because we have two totally different personalities. Like, he's very much. A dude, and I'm very much like, let's go. We got things to do. We got people to So, anyways, I'm like, I'm not going to be pushing you. I'm not helping you with social media. I'm not doing this. I'm like, so it's very like this, like, because I'm a person that has very high expectations, and I'm working on not putting those expectations on other people, because he always points that out to me. He's like, just because you're able to do 15,000 things in one day, most people are going to accomplish 3, and you just got to be okay with it, because that's their personality. Not everybody does all that sort of. So imagine living with me. That's fun. But so anyways, he decided that he's going to do this, and he came across you guys, and then I was like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, their stuff looks like pretty legit. And then immediately I was like, what's the training structure look like? Because you
do training.
In the industry, I'm like, that's like the number one thing I hear is like, I did a 2-day course and it was shit and it was this, that, and the other. But something that I really respected from you guys is, so during his training, it was COVID happened. And it was like right in the mix of all that shit, like shutdowns, this, that, and the other. But you guys let him hang out like 3 months longer than what he actually even paid for. Do you guys even know that you realize you did that?
So, with everything that you just described, we are a business full of men. We buy toilet paper when the toilet paper is empty. In fact, we forget for a while.
So that makes sense.
So we do. But one thing with our trainees, especially local ones, we do like to kind of develop a little bit more of a relationship with them. Because in Nevada, you have to have that 6-month apprenticeship. Right. Whereas, when we have some out-of-town people, we have a structured 4 days where I'm so pressured to make sure that you leave with everything.
Yeah.
But when I know I have 6 months, I'm so much more relaxed. Like, my goal is to get you confident to jump on ahead within the first month. So we have 5 months to build clientele, earn money, do all that stuff. But anyone who does an apprenticeship with us, we tell them that they can come shadow for life. So whether they come into town, back into town, they have a client that's a specific skin tone, hair color, alopecia, or something that they don't normally get to do, and they want kind of like they just want to look out for the next one that I'm doing, so they can come kind of refresh. 100%. I tell everyone that they can always come back. Yeah. I'm always cool with having people watch.
He also said it was really cool, like, which I had never heard before. He said that you, like, if you call, like, or if he calls you, if he's in a situation with, like, a particular, like, I'm like, I could never look at a billion dots. I just don't have that. I'm, like, very much squirrel. Like, I could never focus for that long. But that if he has, like, a particular hairline that he's looking and he's not familiar with, or because he's still hasn't done, like, the barber, like, hard lineup stuff. He does more natural all the time. But he said, he's like, I could always call Tyler. He said that he'll come, if I schedule it, he'll come and, like, sit in and help me do this one and this, 100%. That. I was like, oh, that's really freaking cool, actually.
I mean, if you're here and we like you, I mean, because sometimes you get a vibe from your people and you're there with 6 months. I don't know if you've ever seen that episode of the dating episode on Black Mirror, where they like
watched all
have
those.
their little thing tells them when their time's up for dating. They're like, oh, you're going to date for 6 months. And then you date for 6 months.
I didn't see that.
and
How
that's
did
it.
I miss
Anyway,
that?
It's so good. But it kind of reminds me of that. If we don't like our 6 months together, I'm like, hey, have
See you
fun.
later.
If
Yeah.
you call me, cool. But if we like you, and we very much like Vic, I mean, he's cool.
He's chill, yeah.
If he called me up and said, hey, I'm a little scared to do this like super etched out hard line.
Yeah.
I'd much rather come to you because it's your space, your equipment, and I feel like since you're here locally, I mean, like the furthest you could drive is like 40 minutes.
Right. You're more comfortable in your own space.
And you'll learn it better. You'll retain it. Because if you always do better work somewhere else, then you're going to be kind of flustered when you get back to your space.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's some things that are hard. I mean, to me, natural hairlines are harder, and edged out hairlines are easier. But that you only really learn that until you do it. Yeah.
You guys have multiple locations. So
We do
you're in
now,
Las
yeah.
Vegas, and then where else are you guys located?
Vegas, we just built a brand new one in Scottsdale.
Cool.
So Marvin, my business partner that I told you that I met with a long time ago, who did my head, he moved him and his family out there.
Cool.
To run that one. We have one in the Bay Area.
Okay.
That's ran by Janelle, and then we have one in Washington as well. So basically four right now.
That's cool. Is it, you don't have to tell me this, I'm just kind of curious. Is it like, what is it called? Is it like a franchise? Or is it, so are people buying in to like open a location? Or is one person opening, you don't even have to say who, but is one person opening the locations and then hand-picking people to run them?
This is such a weird topic because you only learn this until you've messed up.
Perfect.
So it's not a franchise. They don't pay to have the location. 2 of them are owned specifically by Marvin and I, and 2 of them, one of them, Janelle, we worked with from the very beginning.
Gotcha.
And she's just put in her time, she's put in her effort, and she's done an amazing job. And so she just has her location.
Oh, very cool.
And then
just kind of uses the name to
Exactly. And what we give each other is marketing.
No, that's cool.
So and marketing is just crazy important.
Right.
So she does an event, she markets the name. We do an event, we market the name.
That's cool.
Works for each other. We have had so many people come up to us and say, here's $100,000. I believe in what you guys do. I love your pictures. I love your model. I want to be in Denver. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds awesome. And the $100,000 really sounds cool. It's a really good carrot to like reach for, but who's your artist?
Right.
And then they're like, oh, we'll just train
figure
somebody.
it out, or
Now I'm already like, okay, I don't trust the situation. It's sketch. Mm-hmm. So 2 like really quick stories, because it's when not to build. That is like such a hard concept because everyone wants, I got 20 locations.
Right.
I got this. So I'm not going to say what company. I think we're all going to know it. But major hair transplant company. They have locations everywhere. Mm-hmm. They paid us to teach them micropigmentation. They sent us 20 students, and we did a week-long thing because they're all out of state. So a week long is like pretty decent.
Yeah.
We got them as much as we possibly could get them to know in a week, which you can't make a great artist in a week. Mm-mm. And so
that's where I'd be scared because I'm like, oh shit, now they got the name. Now what?
So we took it. So they're not going to give us they're not going to use our name.
Not the name
at all.
Wow.
They're just going to offer this service. Those 20 people that jumped on maybe 1 or 2 people went the next week to train 200 people in their company. So I just barely taught somebody. I don't think, I can get you confident in jumping on ahead that you're not going to jack someone up for life, but you can't be an amazing artist in a week. You just can't.
Right.
And those 20 people taught 200 people they should never be teachers of this.
So now it's super diluted. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
No one knows what they're doing. And they got a marketing kit that had pictures and all this stuff to show all of their potential clients, which would, of course, get them excited.
Right.
Like, I helped them. I'm like, these are amazing pictures. And then the company just botched a shit ton of people. And they spent twice as much money trying to hide the fact that they ever tried to learn, because it destroyed all of their reviews. And it just wrecked them as a company, actually. Kind of took them off the map.
It's like common sense. Like, why would you even do that?
Yeah.
Not like, I mean, I get why they're trying to hide it up now. I mean, why would you go like, not you guys training that many people. Why would they then go that and not?
Because they have no respect for what we do.
Yeah, the craft.
They do hair transplants. They're with doctors, and they're putting people, not to sleep. You're actually awake. It sucks. I've done it. But, they look at what they're doing so much higher than what we're doing. And the respect that they give to what we do is nothing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I love tattoo artists. I love tattoos. I love all that. I work with the same machines. I work with inks all day.
It's not like you're going to go do a portrait.
I can't do a portrait.
Yeah.
I can't do amazing tattoos. But when I hear a tattoo artist be like, you guys are doing stippling and you're doing dots. This is nothing. I can do this in my sleep. I'm like, cool. Tell that to like all those jacked up heads of people. Like, it's a completely different process. And yes, you totally can do it with a little bit of training.
Right.
But if you just try to go do it on your own, you're risking like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's so scary.
Anyway, growing, that's tough. We're trying to stay a little chill right now. It's kind of a weird economy. It's kind of a weird market and for everybody.
Yeah.
And I find a little bit of solace in that, because it's not like we're just dying. It's everybody's kind of a little bit lower.
In. I feel like it's the time to like build and create things. Yes. I'm like, hey, if you're a little slower, you need to be taking full advantage of things right now.
You need to work on your website.
There's so much,
everything. You need to do a podcast.
Make connections. That's like really. I don't even know why that took me so long. The guy that runs the studio, actually, he made like a simple post, and he's like, podcast is to form connections, and I almost like fell off the chair. I was like, oh, that's so true. That's what we're doing here, is making connections. Like, because when you and I ever really take time to sit down, because we're both busy. So it's like you're out there, but then you sit down and you scalp. You're like, wow, that person's actually pretty fucking cool.
I'm like 20 minutes from each other, and yet we've never really sat down.
That's what's like so wild. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, so like just building the connections is just like so cool. I'm like, yeah, because like you said, social media and marketing and like all that sort of stuff. I don't think like just this episode alone, like I don't think people see like how many social or marketing or things you can spin off of just one podcast episode. Like I'm hella behind. I'll just say that, because there's so many different opportunities and ways to chop it and cut it, and you could use it here. And then like, and I always offer people, like, if you want this episode, like hit me up. We can send it over to you to use, or because if you share it, even better. It's kind of like what you guys are doing, with your name. If you share it,
following.
Exactly. 100%. And the markets cross over, so why the hell not? Like, so it's benefiting, me just as much as hopefully you.
Definitely.
Yeah. So any last words you want to throw out there?
Kill me or
what? He's like, oh God. Feel free to tell. I want you to like tell your training, like do a little promo on your guys' everything. So
cool.
Yeah.
Probably our most successful page is our Instagram. That's where most of our work is. Everything kind of trickles down to the other ones. RIP TikTok. Just kidding. Anyway, it's not banned yet. Too soon. Sorry, everybody.
They better not get rid of TikTok. It's my favorite platform.
I'm just kidding. Sorry. But yeah, definitely follow us. It's just at smp.ink. That's pretty much it. We do offer training at all of our locations. They kind of depend on what the regulations are for that state. But the biggest thing about our training is it's primarily one-on-one. We do have giant trainings a couple times a year with PMU WORLD. It's just a big, cosmetic event that had like 900 people.
And that one, is it coming up in August?
Yeah. And it's going to be in Miami. Okay. So, but there's like 900 people going, like 2,500 like online views, and 50 hands-on with advanced classes. So there's a ton of training there, but that's not like my favorite thing to do. I really like one-on-one.
Same.
So we do offer one-on-one pretty much for everything. So whether it's just a 4-day course or a 6-month apprenticeship, it's just you, just us. That way we can really work with your learning style. Everyone's different. And if we have to move a whole class forward and you're kind of behind on something, I feel like you're kind of getting gypped a little bit. But there's definitely places for cool trainings, and those are like advanced things.
Cool.
But that's pretty much
Do
it.
you guys do any online stuff or no? Just the hands-on in person at locations or at conferences?
We do build a little bit of tutorials and things online, just some random information. We try to have people come in person.
Okay.
I mean, for us, it's really hard. Maybe we just haven't tapped into that way of learning yet, but it's really hard for us to be confident in our artists without being 100% in front of them.
Like actually we're there with them. I feel like it's so detailed. It's like something you got to like really see up close and be there. So no, that makes sense. Cool. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, of course.
You were easy to talk to and I was stressing. All right, guys. Yeah, this is Tyler. Hit him up on his social media platforms. Like he said, they offer trainings and one-on-one trainings. So that's even better because I feel like I agree that same thing. That attention is definitely needed, especially in something that is so very detailed. So otherwise, thank you guys for joining us. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you guys later.